Welcome back, everyone, to the AUDL Take. The delay of the AUDL season is still ongoing. We're having an extended off season. AUDL and Evan Lepler have come together to give you quite an interesting read that you can catch up on as you entertain yourself coming up with this March kind of vacancy of sports. This was supposed to be the March Madness for basketball. This was supposed to be the last month before we really get into, the season coming up here on April 4th. But now everything's being kind of pushed back, and we all know why. Evan Lepler has put together quite a read for you. He has taken the 16 best teams since the dawn of the AUDL back in 2012, making a bracket, putting those teams against each other, and basically taking the height of that team's performances against the height of another team. We were doing a nice little bracket all the way through to see who really was the best team to ever play in the AUDL. Now, a lot of people have some their own suggestions of who they think is going to be big on top. And for me personally, I just don't see anyone beating the 2016 Dallas Roughnecks. That was on just one of the top teams to ever come into the league. They exploded right in. They had some of the best players coming from all over. I mean, you had Freechild, Mickle, Bo, you had Kirk Gibson. I mean, all in like their prime. And now a lot of these players don't play in the AUDL anymore. And so it's, even with New York last year, 2019, I think they're going to be a contender. I still don't think if you had that same Dallas Roughnecks team that I don't think New York would have been able to pull off the championship like they did last year. But make sure you go to AUDL.com, check out the article done by Evan Lepler. I think it's a great idea to keep us excited about the league as we wait to see what really happens. Are we going to have a season or not? Well, we don't know, but at least we have some things to entertain us right now as we move forward. And hopefully things start kind of calming down here and we have an AUDL season for you this year in 2020. Since there isn't much to talk about more really in this offseason, we've seen all the player signings, we've seen the full rosters. Now we're really ready for the season to start. We're just waiting to see how this pandemic goes as we move forward. But I'd like to really take a deep dive into a single player this episode. Someone who has recently signed with the New York Empire, has been with this team now for 3 years, coming into his 4th season. I think someone who just mesmerizes you when you watch him play, especially here in New York and as well as in the USAU. But I'm talking about Harper Garvey. Now let's really break down what this guy does for the New York Empire. He actually started playing for them back in 2017 and immediately became well known for his varying style of throws and how he could move the disc very well up the field, calmly, just so collective, so thoughtful in his approach to moving the disc. Every time he has it, he just seems like he's kind of just playing in the backyard. He doesn't seem rushed. He takes his time, and he can really put deep throws anywhere he needs them so smoothly. He has quite a good snap off those flicks. And I mean, his wrist, he gets rid of the disc so smoothly. This is someone who, once he started to really develop here in New York, he's always been a prime handler for him, getting him down the field. He's not a scorer of himself. He's not someone who's actually going to get the score. I think he has a total of maybe 11 goals in the last 3 years. But here's someone who really, this last year in 2019, put together a season that I think he's going to be very proud of. And I think it's going to be really hard for him to top ever again. I think he can. But this truly 2019 season was an incredible run for Harper Garvey. Let's focus in on the 2019 stats for Harper Garvey. Basically, where his big numbers are coming in, his major contribution to the Empire is his assists. I believe he had 53 assists this last season, which was the highest he's ever had for the New York Empire, or really AUDL. It's his height. Pretty much every stat this year was his best that he's ever had. He also had a plus or minus of 33, which if you look at the previous few years, it was not nearly as high. I believe in 2017, he was even minus quite a big number, maybe like minus 11 or something like that. So to go plus minus 33, that's incredible. And I think that just shows you how much more comfortable he is in the AUDL field and with this offense. He also had 6 blocks, which was the highest he's had in the AUDL season, and he had a 95% completion percentage. This guy knows what he's doing on the field. And like I said before, he's calm, he's collected, and he can really put accurate throws deep, short. He gets the give and goes. He moves the offense so well. Someone who's just truly entertaining to watch. You got the awesome little man bun going on from time to time. He's got the nice shades, which there's only a few players I think that can really pull that off. I think the other one, Brandon Malachek, but He does so well with this team. And if you actually look at the playoffs, the numbers kind of take a drop. And I think if you look at 2019 specifically, that was because if you look at Grant Lindsley's numbers, he was kind of becoming that Harper Garvey, moving the disc, giving and going every other. He kind of became the secondary quarterback in that situation, and Harper just had to keep the consistency going. So he himself wasn't getting a lot of assists in that regard and during the playoffs. But if you look at Lindsey and you look at the numbers he was putting up, he was really taking control in playoff time. Harper Garvey knew exactly what to do. Keep feeding it to the guy who's working the hardest, and if he's getting open, let him make the plays. And so that's another thing I really like about him. He's not such a showboat kind of player. He's someone who's going to fulfill a role that needs to be filled, and he stays in his lane and does it well. I don't think he's worried about some other handler taking assists from him. I mean, he knows he can make the plays if he needs to, but he's not going to try to be the only one getting assists. He's not going to be trying to steal the spotlight from anyone else. He himself, just the way he plays, he's going to get himself into positions to be that assist leader, but he's not going to push anyone else out of the way. That makes him such a great teammate to have, and that's what I think led to the success of this New York team. If you look over the years, they've been slowly getting there, slowly getting better. Toronto always just kind of seemed to have the edge, but this team has gelled so well. Harper Garvey has continued to get better each year, and this last season was just an incredible run for him. And also just the style of throws he puts up there. He has some of the smoothest, prettiest scoobers I've seen in the league. His hammers are unbelievable. One of the best hammers I ever saw was during the championship game against Dallas, where they pin him on the sideline, something Dallas does very well on the throws during the pulls. They get you on the sideline and they force the double team to kind of make you make a risky throw and hopefully either get pushed back or basically just discombobulate your whole offense. He immediately just goes into the end zone. The hammer just is unguardable. He puts it right into the receiver's hand, and it just shows that, okay, we're not going to be able to do the same things against Harper Garvey. He's just too skilled of a handler. And also you had Grant Lindsley back there. This team just wasn't going to be able to fall for some of the tricks that Dallas was able to put against some of the other teams in the once Southern Division. So once again, this guy coming now into his fourth season for New York, I expect to see a very similar season. Now, Grant Lindsley is coming back. Who knows if maybe those rules will change, but I still think Harper Garvey is going to be a huge assist machine. He's going to be someone who's going to be setting up that offense, leading them to get many wins this season, and I definitely think they're going to get themselves back into the playoffs. Now, we still don't know about the AUDL season, whether it's going to be full 12-game season. Are we going to have playoffs? Is there even going to be a season? We're still kind of up in the air with that. We're hoping everything that everybody's doing as far as the social distancing and all that we'll be able to provide an AUDL 2020 season. But if we do, keep an eye out for Harper Garvey. I think if he plays anything like he did last year and continues to improve and maybe even gets better numbers, he could be in that talk for a possible AUDL MVP. He is that kind of player. This is already a big stacked team, but I think he's been with this team for the last few years, and ever since he's really made his mark as their lead handler, they have improved greatly, and I just see them continuing to have success with him at the helm of the handler position. So Harper Garvey, we're going to be keeping our eye on you. Keep up the great work. It's just keep making those buttery sweet scuba throws. I love them. We all love them. Keep throwing those hammers high in the sky. We're excited to see what you can do in this AUDL 2020 season and in the future. So it's going to be an exciting year when we see him get back on the field and start playing. New York's a team to keep an eye out for because I think there's a very good chance they're going to repeat. And I think they are building the dynasty right now in the AUDL. So that's going to wrap up this week's episode of the AUDL Take. If you've got a player that you would like me to break down and talk about what their rules are and how they've performed over the last few years, like, kind of a player profile, leave your suggestions down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're building up a community here. I'm so happy to have you all tag along into this wonderful thing that we're building here, the AUDL Take, the AUDL 2020 season. Hopefully we have something for you, but thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you again soon.